People often say that they won't believe something until they see it with their own eyes. But can we really trust our eyes? It would seem that our eyes can be quite deceptive as well, and optical illusions are good proof of that. In reality, what we see completely depends on how our brain processes the information, and it has a lot to do with our expectations, previous experiences, emotions, and a wide range of other factors. Don't worry though, this doesn't mean that you can't believe everything you see anymore. Here are 7 common optical illusions explained, so you can understand exactly how they work. 1. The Troxler effect. The Troxler effect was discovered by Swiss physician Ignaz Paul Vital Troxler in 1804, revealing how our visual system adapts only to the stimuli that our senses can detect. The Troxler effect features a blurry image with a blurry background. When we stare at the center of this picture, the image will start to disappear. Why does this happen? This is because the neurons in our brains don't respond to unchanging stimuli or stimuli that our senses can no longer detect because of its stagnation. 2. The checker shadow illusion. Is this the same color as this? You might want to look again. In 1995, a professor of vision science at MIT named Edward Adelson created the checker shadow illusion to demonstrate how our visual system deals with shadows and how it does not perceive in absolute terms. Our brains know that shadows make surfaces look darker than they normally are based on our past experiences with contrast and shadows as references. Therefore, when we attempt to look at the surface without the shadow, we interpret it as being lighter than they appear to the eye, when actually the colors of both surfaces are exactly the same. However, Adelson sees this illusion as proof of the effectiveness of our visual system rather than the defectiveness, because it would mean that our visual system constructs meaning by breaking down visual information. 3. The Gestalt effect. Popularized by Italian psychologist Gaetano Kanizsa, this illusion reveals how we tend to seek closure in our visual perception. Some of the best optical illusions like this, are based on the principle that our brains are trained to fill in the gaps between shapes, lines, and perceive blank space as shapes, even when there are no shapes at all. Just like the checker shadow illusion, our brain makes use of our past experiences in order for us to perceive the triangle as a shape, and not just on our sensory system. 4. The impossible trident. Just like the elephant with countless legs that was created by Roger Shepard in 1990, the impossible trident presents the same illusion. The lines are joined at the end to create the illusion of a prong, and because our minds tend to reconstruct 3D imagery out of the flat 2D image, it creates the illusion of depth. As Shepard explains, it depicts what may at first glance appear to be something that could exist as a real object in the 3-dimensional world. 5. Illusory motion. In illusory motion, nothing is really moving. Some might think that it's a moving picture, but it's actually not. Although there is no solid explanation for this illusion, some visual scientists think that it has to do with fixation jitter, which is involuntary eye movements that give the illusion that what surrounds the object you're fixated on is moving. Some also think that when you glance around the image, the motion detectors in your visual cortex gets confused by the dynamic changes your neurons make, and as a result, you are led to believe that the image is moving. 6. The negative photo illusion. Stare at the red dot in the center of this negative photo. Now you can pause the video and look at the picture for 30 to 60 seconds. Now turn away and look at a white wall. What do you see? You see the image of the negative photo turned into its original quality. This effect is known as a negative afterimage. When you were staring at the red dot for a long time, photoreceptors, primarily the cone cells in your eye that detects color, become overstimulated and fatigued, and they lose sensitivity. Thus, when you look away, these cells won't be as effective and we are left with seeing the negative image. In normal everyday life, you don't notice this because tiny movements of your eyes keep these cone cells located at the back of your eyes from becoming overstimulated. 7. The spinning dancer illusion. It was usually accompanied by clickbait along the lines of, find out whether you're left-brained or right-brained based on the direction you see the dancer spinning. Actually, this is a complete myth and has nothing to do with whether you're right-brained or left-brained. According to a study in 2010, this optical illusion occurs due to our visual preferences, and we tend to prefer viewpoints from above rather than below. The authors found that when the camera angle changed, the viewer's perception also shifted. Optical illusions are fun because they can boggle our minds and make us stare at our screens as we try to interpret the image. However, this may not be a bad thing because these examples show that our brains are actually very intelligent and adaptive and will help us to fill in the missing information from our sensory system. But on the other hand, it also goes to show that not everything is what it seems.